Hey, this is Mark from Right Line Trading, and thank you so much for giving me your time. And I just want to start with this disclaimer that all signals and trading opportunities provided both orally, written, or electronically that are disclosed to visitors or our subscribers are for educational and demonstration purposes only. Now, Right Line Trading takes no responsibility for any participation by visitors or subscribers within the futures or forex markets or for any profits or losses that may be incurred. We all know that trading the markets involves substantial risk and you can lose a lot of money. Therefore, trading is not appropriate for everyone. Carefully consider your financial position prior to making a trade. Never risk what you can't afford to lose. You may want to do your own due diligence and consult a financial advisor. And those of us here at Right Line Trading are not registered financial advisors, and we're not licensed commodity trading advisors. Now, the first thing I wanted to do was a little bit unusual. I mean, there's so much information that I need to present to you in this webinar that it's just not possible to do it all. I mean, it would be a case of clear-cut information overload. So I want you to understand how the revolution signal works and what really makes it a really amazing tool. I'm going to show it to you on quite a few live charts. Actually, what I want to do right now is start my NinjaTrader, and I want to move this over, and I want to show you something on Paint. Now, I could have made this slide, but it just didn't occur to me. But I really feel it's sort of the fundamental principle by which we trade, and I think it's something that very few day traders and swing traders understand. Now, I'm gonna drop the live charts because we're gonna look at the signals on these charts fairly shortly. But I want you to understand the basis by which we created them. They're all loading. I'm just going to give them an opportunity to load. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Paint right over them. And that's what I want to show you. And really, here's the fundamental issue when it comes to trading. And it really underlies our trading methodology. Well, today we made $520 in just a few minutes, in about 35 minutes. And here's how we trade, and here's our trading sort of our trading mantra and how the revolution signal works. Now, there's two ways that you can trade. You can trade with sensitivity. This is very important. Or you can trade with specificity. Now, this is almost, you're almost never going to hear this discussed because nobody really understands it, I think. Now, if you trade with sensitivity, your goal is to capture every true positive. And what is a true positive? A true positive is a winner. That is what you're in the market to do. And every day, you're going to look for every single entry that has the potential to make money. Now, I'm just going to drop that. There we go. Now, the formula for specificity, for sensitivity, is true positives over true positives plus false positives. Whoops. Now, if your goal is to get every winner, then you are going to pull in a lot of losers. And those are the false positives. So you don't want to look for every winner. What you want to do is pick and choose the lowest risk trades you can. Because what your goal and what the goal of the revolutions indicator is to trade with specificity. And when you trade with specificity, your goal is to look at for every true negative. What is a true negative? It's a loser. Now, if you can avoid taking a loser, now it's true negatives plus false negatives. So if you trade with sensitivity, you're going to look for every winner and you're going to pull in a lot of losers. If your goal is to avoid every loser, you trade with specificity. And everything has to align on your charts perfectly in order for you to take a trade. Because you want to avoid, what you want to do is find every true negative and sidestep it. So you want to step the landmines that are out there. And those are the losers. Every day trader in the world can grab winners. But what almost every day trader and every swing trader cannot do is avoid losers. Now, if you work really hard to avoid losers, the consequences of that is that they're going to be false negatives. And a false negative is a winner. So what's going to happen is if you trade with an incredible amount of discrimination, I mean, you want the market to come to you. You want everything to align perfectly. Some winning trades are going to just go right past you, but you can't care about them because in the course of a trading day or in the trading week, you're going to get more than enough winners. If you can get 10, 11, or 12 winners in a week and only pull in 1 or 2 losers, you can make an amazing amount of money. So it's not about the number of winners that you get. It's always about the number of losers. So the goal of the Revolution's entry signal is to trade with an amazing amount of specificity and to get you into winners and to avoid every loser. Now, in order to do that, there's going to be winning trades that go right past it, but we can't care about that. We're going to sacrifice those trades. We're not going to care about them because if we start tilting towards sensitivity, we're going to be penalized by taking losers. And that is the downfall of 95% of day traders and swing traders. So I want you to understand really, bottom line, I'm just going to move this down, our trade methodology and really our mindset. Our mindset is not to go after every winner, it's to avoid every loser. And we do that almost every day fairly well. Like last week, we made $1,700 and I had very, very few losers. I think I had 3 or 4 for the whole week. And I had two of them on one day and 2 of them on another. Now, I don't even want to start with the charts yet, but I just want you to know that they're up there and they're cranking out. Now, I want to start with this slide and move this deck over and start from this slide. Now, there's a ton of gurus out there, and I'm telling you, they proffer in a to a tremendous degree, honestly, a lot of nonsense. I listen to them every week. I try to listen to at least 2 webinars a week from some other company. And in general, I just hear an amazing amount of baloney. And I don't want to call it flat out BS, but it really is. What they do is they cater to you with simplicity. And I mean, unfortunately, it's an issue. And here's the way it manifests itself. If you look at the way day trading and swing trading was 35 years ago, 95% of day traders and swing traders went broke. And fast forward 35 year and 95% of day traders and swing traders still go broke. So what success have we had in evolving this? And this is a science, just like anything else, just like architecture, just like medicine, just like anything, just like being an electrician or wiring a house. It's based on scientific principles. So what kind of success have we had in this area? It's been horrendous. And the reason is we don't methodically throw out what doesn't work and embrace what works. We trade the same stuff for 35 years straight, and nothing has changed. We trade Fibonacci, we trade all the stuff that hasn't made traders profitable in over 3.5 decades. I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of my resume, and sort of to tell you why maybe you should listen to me, and that I'm not giving you a lot of baloney. Now, I graduated from an Ivy League university. I went to the University of Pennsylvania, and I was there for 8 years. When I graduated from undergraduate school, I won't tell you the year, then you'll know how old I am. And I keep that a secret. And I was inducted into the Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society. You have to graduate in the top 2% of your class. When I finished my training, I was a full-time professor at Jefferson University in Philadelphia. While there, I published 15 peer-reviewed articles, and they're on Google still. And some of them are on the first page if you Google my name, which is Sachs MK. Excuse me for I'm a scientist, teacher, and academician first and foremost, and I personally mentored more than 30,000 traders, many of which trade really, really well. And I'm an international speaker. I've spoken in over 30 countries. The last country I spoke in was in the Philippines. I went to Manila. Actually, the last week in March, when I was in the airport, people were just starting to wear masks. And I just got back out of the Philippines right before there was right before all of this hit. Another week or two, and I'd still be in the Philippines. Now, what do most traders trade, and what signals you into a trade for most software? It's either price action or price patterns. And oftentimes it's proffered to you as secret price patterns. I see the same guy on, and I never mention any names, the same guy on YouTube and Instagram. He trades one price pattern. He's made millions and millions of dollars, and now he's selling it to you for like, $9.95. And it's just one secret price pattern that he's found. Now, the problem is that price action and price patterns don't work. But marketers have nothing else to sell you. They have nothing new. They've created new, they've evolved nothing. So they're just going to keep offering it to you. It's repackaged, it's renamed, and sometimes it's really renamed creatively, I got to tell you. But it's all based on price patterns and price action. And I really want to go through this fairly quickly, but I want to show you what our indicator is not based on, which is important for you to understand. Now, first of all, here's Japanese candlestick patterns. And I really understand them well. And I'm sure a lot of you out there do too. I mean, I've read both of Steve Nissen's big books a few times. And I know all of the patterns. I know what their meaning is. And I know what the message is they're supposed to tell you. Who's in control of the market? The bulls or the bears? If you get a bullish engulfing candle, it's the bulls are in control. If you get a bearish engulfing candle, the bears are in control. And and then there's the dark cloud cover, the piercing candle. There's a shooting star. There's a million different formations, and I'm going to group these all together, and I'm going to tell you in a minute why they don't work. Now, back 400 years ago, when they were created by the Japanese rice traders to barter back and forth, they did have tremendous validity. The problem is that they don't have any validity anymore. This market presents to us a completely different challenge than what was presented to traders 30 plus years ago. It's completely different now. I'm going to tell you what's different about it in a second. Now, here's a falling triangle. It's a price pattern. Now, this price pattern doesn't make you money. No price pattern will. There is no secret price pattern that has any more power than a falling triangle or a rising triangle. And you can see that you get sequential lower highs. The anticipation is that the bears are in control and you're going to break down and move to the downside. And oftentimes, very often, that formation is going to break to the upside and hand you a loser. Here's a rising triangle. You have sequential higher lows. Anticipation is the bulls are in control. You may want to get a breakout, retest, and then a move up. But essentially, you're looking for a breakout and a move long. But these patterns fail all the time. And they've been around, again, I don't know, since the dawn of time. And they have never made anybody any money. Now, here's the J hook, which if I see this anymore, I think I'm going to barf, because I don't know, it's kind of caught the eye of some traders, and some people are selling it a lot. But basically, a financial instrument, it doesn't matter what it is. Say it could be crude oil recently, where we had this lockdown, and there was a glut of crude, and it fell to, I don't know, like $12 a barrel. And it made multi-month, if not multi-year lows. It hit support. The premise is that buyers are going to come in. You're going to see those buyers come in based on these candlestick patterns, and they're going to create that J pattern or fish hook, and you're going to move up from there. The problem is that it fails so commonly. I mean, it'll make a move up, and then it'll break support. And the problem with the J hook or the fish hook, depending upon what you want to call it, as if this is a multi-month or multi-year low, once it breaks support, you've got a long ride down. And the break may be sudden. And if you're trading an option, you really may be in the dumpster on this trade. So it's a very, very risky trade to make the supposition that this J hook is going to be successful. And really what you're looking for really is a bull flag pattern. You get a move up, consolidation, a move up, consolidation, move up, consolidation. I mean, and that's really a bull flag pattern. It just fails very commonly. And we both know that our goal is to avoid losers. Now, just 30 seconds on Fibonacci, but I think he was a 14th century mathematician, and he created Fibonacci transformations from which we got Fibonacci numbers, and they do tell us about some symmetry in nature, about the number of edges on a snowflake, the number of ridges on a pine cone. But what we're asked to believe is that his mathematical formulas accurately describe market sentiment such that this Fibonacci retracement number, I think it's 61.8%, is actually going to tell us that if price is coming down to it, there are buyers waiting here, and those buyers are going to push market up. And if it's coming up, there's sellers waiting here to push the market back down. I mean, it's ludicrous to make that assumption that his retracement values and his extension values, based on a mathematical theorem he created over 600 years ago, is going to tell us what traders are thinking in terms of buying and selling the market and create valid areas of support and resistance. But yet, for some reason, traders keep gravitating towards any program that contains Fibonacci. And I call it the Fibonacci hoax, because we've back tested these levels of support and resistance going back a year. And they have no statistical validity whatsoever. You can always create a pattern in retrospect that looks great. But if you're trading off the right edge of a chart and you want to take a trade and you want to use Fibonacci to tell you buyer sentiment, i.e. what they're going to do at a specific line, you are going to get hammered. And that's what all Fibonacci traders do. They don't make any money. That's why 95% to 98% of all of us go broke. Now, the last thing I wanted to show you was, this is a proprietary candlestick pattern. I saw it in a webinar. It's been patented, so no one else can sell it. And it's a topping and bottoming formation. And what you can see here is that the bulls tried to push the market to the top. They failed. The bears succeeded in creating a hammer. You get really strong bearish follow through. You're in one tick below the close, and then there's the move down, and there's price collapse. So it's calling a top here. And the only thing that I asked the presenter was, what is the positive predictive value of the entry? i.e., what percentage of entries fail and what percentage of entries succeed? And he could have fibbed to me and told me 80% succeed, but he didn't say anything. I never got an answer. So once I never got an answer, I knew he didn't have a clue. I knew he didn't make $50 million off this pattern. And I knew if I bought it, it wasn't going to help me. So what I did was I just went through the market and I looked for these patterns, and I found this pattern. This is a bottoming pattern. And here's the bearish wick that fails. Bulls push the market to the upside. It's not a great hanging man, but it's a pretty decent one. You get strong bullish follow through. You're in one tick above, and you get a great candle. But then you get complete price collapse. And again, once you break the support of this formation, you're in free fall, and down you go. So the basic premise, and so I mean, really the basic theorem, is that if one price pattern and price action don't work, all the hidden ones that people are always pulling back the curtain on, and the one price pattern that drove someone to make $100 million, who's now selling it to you, and they always say they're retired. I retired on this thing, but there he is standing in front of you on Facebook trying to sell it to you. They just don't work. Now, here's the reason. The reason is that back in the day, and I don't know, I mean, I started trading in 1996, and I opened up an account with TD Waterhouse, which became TD Ameritrade, which now I guess was bought by, I forgot the name of the company, another big trading company. But back when it was TD Waterhouse, this was still operational. Now, pure price action, price patterns don't have any, they have power, but they're going to fail 50% of the time. And this is what almost everyone is trading, and that's why we can beat them so easily. Because as long as they trade price patterns and price action, and we avoid that disaster, we can beat them up 99% of the time. Let them trade Fibonacci. Let them try to call tops and bottoms. Divergent signals no longer work, and this is what everyone is trading. The only thing that works is tracking the direction of institutional money. It comprises over 70% of all volume in every futures market, every Forex market, and in most stocks. I mean, I'm not going to say it does in a lot of micro cap stocks, and I'll tell you, today was the first day in a long time I made 300%, as God is my witness, on a stock. And I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's not even part of the webinar, but I was so shocked. I had been holding it forever, and all of a sudden, I take a look at it, my eyeballs almost popped out of my head. And the name of the stock was, what did I do with it? Hang on one second. But it went up 300%. Where did I stick it? I know I didn't delete it. I mean, I exited it and got rid of it. I don't want to take much time hunting for it. I can't find it. I think the ticker was NNDM. But it went up 300%. Take my word for it. So, but the bottom line, so that micro caps can be manipulated. There's no doubt about it. But for all intents and purposes, what we're looking at is a market that is governed by big money, by big Wall Street money, by 401k money, by hedge fund money, by bank money, by big mutual fund money. And when they walk in and flip a switch on a computer and they start smashing the market, they're going to move it in their direction, irregardless of price patterns and irregardless of price action. It's irrelevant. And that's why I created this hand coming down and just lifting this candlestick. Now, this hand is either going to raise it up or just squash it to the bottom. Now, so the market sentiment that was represented by the patterns prior to big institutional money coming in becomes irrelevant. And this is why most traders go bankrupt. It's because they're trading patterns and things like that that just no longer work. Now, here's really the premise that was operational way back in the day. Now, probably in the early 60s, and what was operational when the Japanese created Japanese candlestick patterns was that the power of each individual bear was essentially equal to the power of each individual bull. If you and I, as small retail traders, were slugging it out in the market, we're going to be trading a small number of shares or lots or contracts, whether it be stocks, Forex, or futures. And essentially, for the most part, we all have equal power. And then when we each have equal power, then price patterns, price action, and calling divergent signals is going to work. But that's just not the case anymore. And this is the premise that underlies all of Japanese candlestick pattern formations. The Japanese rice traders made the assumption that when they were bargaining back and forth, that each bargainer, the one who was looking to sell versus the one who was looking to buy, was essentially equal in power, and one couldn't completely overrun or overdrive the other. But that's not the case anymore. Now what we have is one big guy here. He controls the the direction of the market. And again, when an algorithmic trade is triggered, nothing else matters. Price patterns get destroyed, price actions gets destroyed. Now, Elliott wave and Gann theory were nice formulas created to predict mathematically market sentiment. They don't work anymore because of institutional volume. And Elliott and Gann theory have a lot more validity than Fibonacci, but none of them work because of that big purple marble. And that big purple marble is all the big money that Wall Street leverages in the course of a day. And when they want to take crude oil up 75 or 80 ticks, it's going up. That's also why you can't, I see emails all the time. They say the appropriate way to call a top or call a bottom. After doing this for over 20 years, I can tell you there's no mathematical way of calling a top or calling a bottom. The tops are determined by institutional money. When they're done buying the instrument, it'll snap back to the mean, which can be the 50 simple moving average or exponential, whatever your mean is. Regression to the mean is a powerful mathematical tool. But it's not going to stop going up until they're done with it. Same thing going short. You can't call a short with divergence or any mathematical formula until it'll bottom out when the institutions decide they want to stand aside. And you and I have both seen markets that will go up for the whole day, the whole week. We know of markets that are overbought for hours, days, weeks, and even months. It's not to say there won't be small retracements, but it's too dangerous to try to trade those retracements. We have to trade in the direction of big money. And the only way we can go is long. So we can't call a top and we can't call a bottom. So we need a system that calculates the direction of money flow. Because the big institutions and banks rotate their money from sector to sector. Now, this is another principle that's really important, which I want you to understand. I mean, no matter what you do, it's going to be helpful for you to trade. In a given day in the market, the amount of money that's present is fixed, and it's fixed pretty much in a given week. Now, especially in today's market, there's no money for anyone. There's no financial instrument for anyone to put their money in except for stocks. I mean, what is the Fed doing? They're thinking of creating negative interest rates. So no large institution is going to move their money to cash. If they do, it's actually going to depreciate in value. It's a very rare scenario. How much interest do stocks and bonds pay? Next to nothing. So they're forced to take all the money they have and put them into stocks. All the stimulus money has got to go into stocks. And just as an aside, I think we're going to see a very, very nice rally going into the election, because right now, as long as interest rates are zero or negative, potentially, the only place for these big institutions to make any money is in stocks. But they still rotate their money from sector to sector. If they feel there's a lot of danger, they will put their money in stocks and bonds. They will put their money in precious metals. They will put their money in certain currencies. They will get out to stop from incurring losses and put them in safer financial markets. So what we have to do is track the movement of money from sector to sector, knowing that the actual total sum of money present in the market in a given day is pretty much fixed. So I'm going to skip that. Now, I just want to show you that this is the market analyzer, and this is going to give you a revolution signal. And you can look at the whole NASDAQ 100. You can look at 25 futures markets if you can find 25. You look at 12 to 15 to 18 Forex pairs. And on the time frame you're looking at, and it could be time, tick, range, Renko, it could be stocks, futures, or Forex. When you see a buy signal, you're going to have time to get over, grab the candle, and get into the trade. Now, you're going to have to be one of the first people aboard to get it, but it's going to be available at no additional charge. Now, I really want to go through this. I'm not even going to show this. Well, I want to show this really quickly. This is what happens when you trade with institutional money. Now, I kind of went by it because I want to give you a little background.
Filled.
Now, this is at normal. I'm playing this at normal speed.
Target filled.
Now, how much money you made on the trade is totally up to you. You could have made $200 on it, or you could have made $10,000 on it. It's up to you based on, in this particular case, the number of contracts you traded. And everything on the chart means something. These three green lines, the oscillator here, the background color, which is green, the candle halo, the slope of the 50, the slope of the 50, the pivot, everything means something. And you're going to see that the revolution signal looks at about 100 different independent variables before it will take a trade. Now, I want to go through this very, very quickly. And it's going to be, because if you come aboard, I'm going to do a master class, and I'm going to do this a lot, in a lot more detail. But we track money flow and we couldn't care less about price patterns or price action. And that's highlighted in the fact that I like to trade Unorenko candles. And you'll notice that in Unorenko candles, I mean, you can see areas of consolidation, and you can get some assessment of price patterns, but this obliterates Japanese candlestick formations. It obliterates rising and falling triangles, because I don't want to see them, because I don't care about them. I don't care about divergent signals. I'll let everyone else trade them, because these are the people that are not making any money. Now, you can trade any type of candle you like. I mean, I don't want you to think that the revolution signal is only going to work on Unorenko. It'll work on range, tick, time, whatever you want to format in the major template. But I just like to use Unorenko, so I don't have to have any additional information in my head that I don't use to trade. Now, quickly, I want to go through those three parameters that we use to track money flow. Now, number one, if you've never heard me talk before, I want you to know, and I want you to take this to heart, because this is the truth. No indicator that assesses data from your trading chart will ever have forward-looking ability. If it uses it, it's useless. Even if it looks at higher time frames, if it encompasses what's going on in your trading chart, it is never going to provide you with optimal entries. But just to explain this, I just want to order flow. I want to show you how we do how we create order flow. Now, at every price level, there are buyers and sellers, and they're present in the dome at a specific number. You add up all the buyers, and I'm doing this a little quicker than normal, and all the sellers, you get a delta value. And this delta value is the summation of all the buyers and sellers present and all the price levels in your candle, or high-low, open, high-low, close, whatever you want to trade. Now you would think if there's an overabundance of buyers, because the market delta here is 1812, you're going to get an up candle. Here it's 29.95, you're going to get an up candle. There's buying pressure. Here it's positive 222 and you get a down candle. Here it's negative 22.39, you get an up candle. So this is what a lot of traders are using on the market delta on their trading chart to tell them what's going to happen off the right edge of the chart. They use graphs like this, which are useless, and they're going to get stopped out a lot. And the reason this happens is simply because this doesn't look at the aggressiveness of the buyers or sellers. In this particular case, if this is a stock trading at 50, the sellers will sell their stock for, say, $49.99, $49.98, $49.97. They want to get rid of it. They're aggressive sellers. But the buyers are only going to take it for $50.01. They're not going to pay 1 cent more. Forget the bid-ask spread here. This is just to show you a principle in terms of aggressiveness. So the sellers are much more aggressive. So the fact that they're not present in abundance, the buyers are present in abundance. This candle still closes to the downside. So what we do for all of our analyses is we only use the 2 higher multiple time frames. And what we do is we create a 15-period SMA on the 2 higher multiple charts. And the 2 higher multiples, if you trade time, you take the time on your chart. See, it's a 2-minute, multiply it by 3, it's a 6, multiply it by 3, it's an 18. So we look at the 6-minute and the 18-minute. Each create a 15-period SMA. So we use the average market delta of the last 15 candles, and we create 2 simple moving averages. When they're both green, the bulls are in control. And when they're both red, the bears are in control. And only big money can create this alignment. When you or I are in control, it's yellow. And when you get that SMA, there's that SMA 15 heading down, you got to trade short. And the revolution signal is only going to be looking for short entries. And here's what happens. There's the line. You're going to see it on the chart when I bring it up. Price is going to rise. And what we're going to do, where we're going to make our money, is off of these counter trend traders. They're trading Fibonacci, Elliott wave, divergence signals, price patterns, price action. But what are they all doing in essence? They're calling a top. They're saying that price is going to stop here and I'm going short. Price is going to stop here and I'm going short. And they're never going to make it because order flow is still aligned to the upside and they're going, and price is going to rise. Now the gear momentum, and I want to be pretty brief about this too. It's stochastic, and George Lane developed the first oscillator back in 1963. He created the stochastic, and he created it only to look for divergence signals. We do just the opposite. We don't care about divergence signals. We only want to look at momentum. And what is momentum but the acceleration of price to the downside or to the upside? And what is the acceleration of price? It's the close inches closer to the low. The close closer to the low, closer to the low. You know, it's really pushing hard down. That's price acceleration to the downside. And that's the only thing we look for. We don't care about divergence. And we look for the 2 higher time frames. You already know what they are. Now, if it's range and you're trading a 5 range, we look at the Fibonacci next 2 higher fibs, the 8 range and the 13 range. You're trading a 377 tick. We're going to look at a 610 tick and the next higher fib number. We're always going to create the 2 higher time frames for which we do the assessment. When the Laguerre momentum lines are both green, bulls in control. When they're both red, bears in control. When they're yellow, we're in control. And there's the percent K line heading up on both higher time frames. Trade that short and you are not going to make it. Well, let's combine them. Red, red, you have to trade short. Green, green, it occurs before price turns, first pivot, up you go. Now the quant line is our neural net and really powerful. On the E-mini, we're not looking at anything that's taking place on the chart. But in the case of this line, we're not even looking at the E-mini. What we're looking at is the correlative markets. So when this line is red, we know that the Dow, the Russell, and the NASDAQ are heading to the downside on a multi-time frame basis. And when this is green, we know that the Dow, Russell, and NASDAQ are heading to the upside on a multi-time frame basis. What are we doing? We're tracking the direction of institutional money. This is telling us that the big institutions are buying stocks across the board. They're buying the E-mini, the Dow, the Russell, and the NASDAQ. Now, the reason they're called quant lines is because the NASDAQ is weighted or quantitatively weighted more heavily in the line. The Dow is weighted less, and the Russell is intermediate. This is the strongest correlative market, the NASDAQ and the E-mini. So if you take a trade long on the E-mini, and the Dow is heading long on a multi-time frame basis, the Russell's heading long on a multi-time frame basis, the NASDAQ's heading long on a multi-time frame basis, and momentum is heading up on a multi-time frame basis, and order flow is heading up on a multi-time frame basis. What's the likelihood you're going to get blown out of the trade? Well, slim and none. And now these are the correlative markets. And it really is based on the principle that no single market moves in isolation, that every market, even sometimes in a very minor way, are interlinked. And that is the premise of artificial intelligence in trading, that every market has some correlation to every other market. The correlation may be exceedingly weak, and in some cases, the correlation's exceedingly strong. But the principle is that no market moves independently of any other market. And if you think about it, it's true. Because let's say the euro pound goes up. Well, the money that moves into the euro pound has to be taken from some other Forex pair. It's just not going up by magic. What we have to do, and our job, is to determine which of those Forex markets correlate at least 70% of the time or greater. So now we have all the futures markets, all the Forex pairs, and if you happen to trade a stock, we don't have a quant line, we can make it for you. So don't worry about that. But here's the whole system. And now we're starting to get into the actual indicator, which I'm going to show you on a live chart. I mean, showing you these JPEGs, which is what 90% of you're going to see, I can always show you winners, but I want to show you real charts. Now, when you don't have the 3 green lines, you're in chop. When you have 3 green lines, you're only going long. And when you have 3 red lines, you have the correlative markets, you have Laguerre momentum, and you have order flow on a multi-time frame basis aligned in your direction. It's telling you the direction of money flow. And I automated the slide to try to highlight its importance. You can see these traders calling a bottom, calling a bottom, calling a bottom. They're getting squashed. We need these traders. They help us make money because we're trading with the institutions, and this is where we take the money from. The other small retail trader who doesn't know what they're doing. Here's the same thing. Long only, short only, and the small retail trader like us creates these tiny retracements, which are doomed when you have order flow and you have momentum and you have the correlatives heading down. And we're just going to run them over, and it's going to help propel the trade in the direction we want it to go. Now you're starting to learn the premise of the revolutions indicator. I want you to know a little bit about what runs it. Now, I'm not even going to talk about the oscillator. And I'm not even going to talk about these entries because these entries are a little bit different than what I want. I do want to talk about background bias. Now, background bias, when we take a trade on our financial instrument, doesn't matter whether it's a stock, a future, or a Forex, when we have everything going for us, we also want the instrument we're trading to be in a multi-time frame alignment to the downside. That's what the pink represents. You will only see a revolution signal on pink background or dark green. And that is the strongest multi-time frame alignment of the financial instrument you're trading to the downside, which is pink, or to the upside, which is green. Now, each of these colors has different power, which I'll review with you in the master class, but they all are long alignments. And it's the only direction you can trade and the only direction that the revolution signal will put you in. Now, just quickly on pivots, it'll never trade into a pivot. It's really smart. Now, this is a zone of buy, sell, and balance, which I'm not going to go into, but it looks at stacked buyers and stacked sellers on the higher time frames, knows there's a whole bunch of buyers sitting here. The system sees it and will not trade into it. It will, if there's an entry here and it sees this here, the entry will not fire. You'll never see it. And you can see bounce, 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 and up. Never penetrates. Up, down, up, up, down. Never breaks through resistance. Now, you can trade the signal obviously with a call, depending on your time frame. Now, putting it all together, I'm going to take that out because these are entries that we don't even have to bother with. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the entries on a live chart. And let's start with the NASDAQ. Now, you know basically what you're looking at now. You know the candle. Now, the candle halo represents order flow. What I like to do is I like to keep everything really nice, located in the direction, located on the candles, so I don't have to look down too much. This is the gear on our chart, but I don't really want, I'm not here really to teach you our software system, but this is all hard-coded into the indicator. And you're going to actually get this entire software system or the entry won't function. I didn't talk at all also about this line here. And I started this company 9 years ago. Every indicator has evolved into something better, except line. This is the trend, and it's an amalgam of a 15-period exponential and an ADR and ADA. You read support and resistance, it reads volatility. Now, I'm going to show you really briefly the system. It's right here. And here are all the inputs. And this is how we can format it. So you can trade stocks or Forex or futures. And everything has a specific input. Now, again, over each of these inputs would also be way too much information. In the master class, I'm going to show you how you can tweak the system a little bit, maybe to give it a little more room, or maybe to give it a little less room. Either way, we're going to give you recommended inputs. Now, half the system is hard-coded and cannot be changed, and half the system allows you to make adjustments. And I'll just give you a quick example. The system looks at the, it looks at the, here's the 15. And that's this line right here. Now we're only going to take a short when it's red because we have the 15 set at red green. And we're only going to take a long when it's green. Now you may want to take a long when it's yellow and green, or a short when it's yellow and red. I don't recommend it, but it's the same thing for the 50. So you have a little bit of play here. And see here we have red, green, or orange. There's a lot of discretion, but I don't recommend you really do very much. This is the template that you're going to get, and we will soon change this from an indicator to a strategy. And when it becomes a strategy, you will get this upgrade, and then you can do your own back testing, although I'm going to show you our back testing. Now let's just go backwards on the NASDAQ. Now this is today. So I'm not, now, the only thing that I want to do is trade during market hours. And then I want to take the signals during the trading session. That's all. I don't want to do it at 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning. Now there's your first entry at 1531. You see the triangle. It's got space to the pivot. You've got red, 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 red. The Laguerre is squashed, and look at the background. It's pink. The 50 is red. The 15 is red. The trend is red. It's below the 15. For us, this is a full winner. This is what I trade every morning. I mean, I'm showing you the instruments that I trade. And this is tedious, but I don't want you to think that I'm cherry picking anything nor going over any potential losers. There, you take the first signal. It's another winner. Right up. Background color is green. I haven't talked to you about the dots yet, but they're dual dark. Candle halo's blue. Green, green, green on all the trends. Here's the quants telling you the NASDAQ, Russell, and E-mini are long. Here's the dual Laguerres. Everything is perfect. Now it gives you 3 signals in a row. You're going to be in on the first. I have some scribble on here from the trading room this morning. Now you won't see anybody else do this because they're going to cherry pick their trades and they're going to cherry pick their time frames, and they're just not going to scroll this for you. And this is all that matters. I mean, I'm going to teach you a lot more about what makes the indicator function, but all that matters at the end of the day is performance. Now, like I said, you're going to see some moves that it doesn't take, but its goal is to not take a loser. That's how we formatted it. If you want to loosen it up, you can, but you do that at your own peril because it will pull in losers. You'll get more winners, but you'll pull in losers. Now I know this is boring, and you can say, Uncle, because I'm going to do this with a bunch of instruments, but I can't do this faster, even though my finger's getting numb. Let's just get a few more signals. When they come, it's like, your central nervous system kind of. Now they come intra-candle, and they come with an audible alert. So you will be, there's a signal. And it's another winner. This is a big, this is a big trade. This is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. That's a 30 tick NASDAQ trade. That is not a small trade. You trade that with 3 or 4 contracts, you know, you make bank on that money, on that trade. Now, here's a loser. And I will never tell you that you're going to get 100% winners. That goes to my credibility and my honesty. And here's another loser. Now, here's another winner. All the way up. First entry right here. And I know this is boring. There's another winner. It's another 30+ tick trade. Now, this is not the most entertaining, but I just want you to see the validity of the signal. And I also want you to be aware of the fact that you're not going to get 100% winners. And I am right there to tell you and show you when the signal doesn't work. I'll go a little bit more on the NQ, and then I'll show you crude. Let's get 2 or 3 other signals on the NQ. Now, if every week you trade, it's on 4 financial instruments, or 6 instruments, or 10 instruments, and 80% or more of the entries are profitable, you're going to make a really good amount of money. And what this does is eliminate the discretionary component of trading, our natural proclivity to overtrade, our natural desire to chase the market in suboptimal conditions. You know, the fact that we right here, small winner. It's 4, 8, 12, 14 ticks. Nice trade. You're not going to get all home runs, but you're going to get some real monster home runs. Now, I'm not watching the chat, but if you get thoroughly, there's another winner right here. Now, you take the first signal and you're in. That's a nice long trade. That's 8 1/4 points. That's 33 ticks. And I don't want to kill you with this. I'll show you one more instrument. We'll look at 2 more signals, and then we'll move to crude. But I just want you to see that this is a really valid money-making signal that is based on 2 years worth of optimization. I mean, it is not a gimmick. It is not a Forex engine. I mean, here's another winner. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 ticks. It's a great move on the NQ. You trade that with 2 or 3 contracts, you know, you got $300 or $400. There's another winner right there. There's another winner right there. And it isn't infallible. Nothing is infallible. But it gives you stellar entries. Now I'll show you our back testing results in a minute. I just want to, I'll show one more signal on the NASDAQ, and then I'll move to crude, just so you don't die of boredom. But I'm telling you, this is the only thing that's valid. Everything I told you before is irrelevant if the signal on a live chart that occurred in the last day or 2 doesn't make you good money. Now, like I said, you may not get an abundance of signals, All you want is an abundance of winners. And you see we're having a little hiatus here. We're not getting much of anything, and that's okay. Remember, in the course of one day, the NASDAQ creates 1 million candles, especially Unorenkos. My God almighty here. Up there it is, and that's a beaut. I mean, that's a really nice trade. Now, maximum excursion, 34 ticks. I mean, if I do any more, you're going to die of boredom. So let's go over crude, okay? Now, there's a loser right off the bat. Now, it's way late in the day, so you do have to take into account when you're trading for sure. If you want to trade at like 3 o'clock in the morning, don't look for the same validity. Here's your first winner, and that's at 9:10 in the morning. That's when you'd want to trade. Now we're going into the wee hours of the night. Some nice trades. The system just didn't click them in. But I can tell you it's avoiding a ton of losers. And let's just get two more. Let's just get 2 more signals. You can see. I mean, I didn't prefab this, or I could have easily avoided showing you that loser. When that loser was, there's another winner, and that is one stellar entry on crude. That's a nice move. And if you learn the system, you'll see how beautiful a trade this is. You see the retracement it looks for, and that external wick. It's just a killer entry here. And I'll show you one more, just so you don't. And we'll make sure that the time is a reasonable time, even for a winner. I mean, we want to trade. And look at this trade. Now, this down candle doesn't matter. Up you go. It's a gorgeous entry. And I'll show you one more. Now, I also had the E-mini and I had gold, but I'm not going to show them because I want to get to questions and I want to finish up. And I hope you see how valid the signal is. It comes with an audible alert. There's another entry. That's a nice winner. And I could do this till my finger fell off. 8 to 9 out of every 10 trades it triggers are going to win. And we have determined that mathematically. So you've got a very, very low risk, high reward entry signal that's going to get you in. It's going to beep intra candle. If you're not looking at the chart, you're going to bring it up. You're going to buy 1 tick below the close of the candle and ride it down. You're going to get some smaller trades and some major home runs. I'm not going to do it with another instrument, so I don't bore you to death. And I'm just going to finish out with just a few more slides, and then I'll go to any questions. And also, I'll show you the offer that we have. Now, here's our back tested results. Let me start the slideshow from the current slide. Now, this is going back from 119 through 5/4. And these are our future results on those 4 markets. And the system made about $80,000 in that period of time. And let me just reverse this so you can see it a little bit better. Now we use 12 4X pairs to create the same analysis, and the system made just under $120,000 in this, I think it's a 5-month period. And then what we did was we just picked one stock, and the stock we picked were the Qs, only trading the Qs. And it made over $150,000. And you can see in the last couple of weeks, it has just skyrocketed up. Now here's the offer. Now, normally we're rolling it out. We're going to sell it for $3,000. It is fully operational. The only upgrade that you're going to get right away, probably within a week, is it's going to move from an indicator to a strategy. And the strategy is going to give us a little more configurability. And also you can do your own back testing if you want to tweak it a little bit. But your back testing results, I promise you, are going to knock your socks off. The special offer is $17.99. You get lifetime updates and lifetime upgrades. If we make it better, we're going to give them to you. The first 10 orders receive that market scanner. So if you want to look at 35 or 40 stocks, the scanner will show you when the revolution signal is going to trigger by going blue. So you have a gigantic universe of potential entries of which you've got a great chance of getting a winner. Now, everyone is going to get a month in the live trading room with me, and that's going to help you a lot because you'll understand our trade methodology, and you may decide, since you get the software, that you want to take some trades on a discretionary basis and actually widen the universe with which you use to trade. And I'll just show you today. Here's our trade performance. I'm gonna make it as big as I can. All right, let me do this. We made 510 bucks. Our second trade was at 10.12 and we're done. Our target's between $400 and $600 a day. When we hit our profit target, we stop. Revolution's entries, bang, out, done. Hang on. You can call us if you want at 786-732-4656. Now, I do want to mention that if you have interest and you want to lock in the full system price, but you have a question and you want to call us, if you put in your name and your phone number, we'll call you and you'll lock in the Revolution's market scanner. Even if we sell 10 and we haven't gotten to you yet, you put your name in there, you will lock that in. So you get 1 month in the live training room, and that's no obligation if you put your name and number in. It's just Rory will call you and answer any questions you have, and it's just really it's low keyed. You get unlimited a week access to our educational training sessions. And let me tell you, today I traded for an hour, less than an hour, and I talked in the trading room for about an hour and a half. Every day I make it an educational session. Get our video tutorial library. And the entire offer expires on Thursday at midnight. So let me pull out any questions and answer them. Hey guys and ladies, how are you? Whoops, hang on one sec. All right, I gotta scroll to the top. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Yeah, I know, right at, no, this is a complete system, Taylor. Taylor asks, is this a complete system or an addition on an existing one? No, you get in order for the entry to work, it's got to have the entire software package on your computer to read off of. Now, a lot of the indicators are hard coded into it, but by far and away, the full system isn't. If we made the full system redundant, it would take up so many system resources, you wouldn't be able to run it. So what you really get, and I'll take this down, is you get this whole thing. You get the software and you get the signal that the software generates. Now, you don't have to look at the software if you don't want to. You can take it and squeeze it and eliminate it. But if you want to trade the software like I do in the trading room, you get everything. I mean, this is a brand new package and it's very comprehensive. Hey, Chris, this will be recorded. Okay, 1170 to 1250 AD. Thank you, Joseph. I bet that's Fibonacci. Schwab, that's right. Schwab bought TD Ameritrade. So it went from TD Waterhouse to TD Ameritrade, and now God knows what it's called, but it was purchased by Schwab. Thank you, Brian. Nano Dimensions, that was the stock. It went up 341%. And I swear to God, I had that stock today. I've been sitting with it. I forgot I even had it. And I think I just deleted it because once it's got 300%, I sold it. But that's it. Nano Dimensions, thank you. NNDM, it closed up 401%. It opened the day, I don't know, under $1 and closed at $3.89. You don't see that happen very often, I have to tell you. I looked at my account and my eyeballs bulged out of my head. And Nano Dimensions was off the system. Hey, Satine, is there a reason why you're not showing us your system, but talk about everything, but the reason why we have, no, I showed you the system. I mean, I showed you all the entries on live charts, nothing repaints. You saw that the system took losers, and I'm not going to sit here and ever represent that this is going to be 100%, because it's not. And if you come aboard, you're going to see that it's not. But it's going to trade 85% or better. I just want, the reason I started with slides is I just wanted to give you some idea of where the signal's coming from. And it just doesn't appear out of the blue. And to give you an idea of what the lines are, what the background bias is, and how we have this signal retooled. We have it tooled to trade with great specificity, to only take a trade when everything is perfect. Now you can loosen up all those signals because all the critical components are not hard coded. They're in that big template I showed you, but we're going to prefab it for you, and that's the way we're going to put it. We're going to put it to get winners. We're going to format it to avoid losers. Okay. It does work on futures, Stephen. What I showed you was futures. I know this is before I put up the slides, but I showed you the NASDAQ and I showed you crude. There was one loser on crude and I think one or two on the NQ, but multiple winners on both. In fact, I love it's on futures and Forex. It's fabulous. Hey, Satine, please try with this Renko. You will be amazed by the results. Okay, let me look at, okay. Ninja Renko. Okay, thank you, Satine. Appreciate it. Hey, Leonard. You know what, Leonard? Leonard asked me what the correlative markets are for crude, and that's information we don't give out. It was so hard to find what they are, Leonard, that some of the markets we just don't give the correlates for because it was too hard for us to locate 3 markets that correlate in direction or counter direction with crude. Like I tell you what they are for bonds and notes and for some instruments, but not for all of them. And I'm sorry about that. Hey, Rogelio, which is the actual revolution signal? It's that triangle, Rogelio. That's what the signal is. You can change that too. I mean, it's really easy. I mean, if you go here, and I mean, I don't want to waste time. If you go to indicators and you go down to the revolutions here, and you go all the way down. See, I have a triangle up, triangle down, but you can format the signal however you like. You have all kinds of different options here. So it's all formatable. It all depends what you like. Hey, Craig. It is not back. No. It never back paints. I mean, I have people in the trading room who've been with me for years, and they know nothing repaints on this system. Once it's up, and I mean, let me tell you, if it repainted, I'd be moving these signals all over the place. Trust me. Once it signals, it never repaints. Never. I mean, that's the lowest of the low. That repainting signals. We would never do that. So the triangle, green or red, that is the revolution signal, Taylor. And I probably should have made that a lot clearer when I started going through, but that's the revolutions. And if I go far enough, I have and that's the revolutions. That's a killer trade. Look at this trade. Now remember, you can take this trade out at resistance. If you're in the trade, you can, oh God, you could tell the system whether to exit on resistance or not. That's not a hard code, and that's your call. And that, I mean, that was like a 75 tick trade. I'm not going to scroll back, but you saw the trade. And that's the up triangle. That's the down. And then there was a really huge up move that I just caught. I go through really fast here. And let me tell you, these are all the winners you need in a week. You have more than enough winners to make a lot of money. There's the two. I can't find that one huge one. Doesn't matter. I mean, I've done enough mega scrolling here for a month. Okay, that's the signal. Is the indicator included in an update for those of us that own? Yes. Tom, it is. Hey, Taylor, I thought you said it was going to be a line. Well, you know what, Taylor? We were going to make it a line, but then we decided to make it a triangle because the triangle is a little bit more distinctive. That's all. And remember, you can make it anything you like. You can make it a line, you can make it a triangle, you can make it a circle. That's all configurable. Hey, Reg, is this the Revolution's entry system? The triangle's correct. That's the system. Can you show it on a Forex minute chart? Taylor, here's the only reason I can't. One, I don't have my Forex feed attached. And in order to do it, I would have to change. I knew someone was going to ask me this. We'll be happy to do it for you, but I can't do it here. Because what I would have to do is change almost every input in this. Like if you want to trade the Forex on a minute, I'm telling you the signals will have the same predictive value. But you see this 21 range, they all have to be modified. If you trade a minute, these all have to go to 9 minutes. Everything has to be changed here. So it's just nothing it's nothing I can do quickly. I would have to build you a new template, and I just can't do it in the middle of the webinar. But if it has the predictive value that it does on the futures, it's going to have no less predictive value on time or on Forex. And if you put your name and number in, Rory will be happy to show you. Hey, Satine, so how many signals were there in NQ? The looks of it, you sit there for hours to only miss. Well, that's not sure, Satine. You're just not trading the NQ. You're trading the NQ, the E-mini. You're trading you're trading crude. You're trading gold. You can trade the Dow. You can trade the 6E. You can trade soybeans. You can trade wheat. You can trade corn. Remember, you have the market scanner. So you're not staring at one chart waiting for one signal. Trust me, you're not going to have any problem getting winners. It may take time to get a winner on any given instrument because we want that instrument to conform perfectly to what we need for the lowest risk trade possible. But you trade a bunch of instruments with an audible alert and a scanner, you're going to get them. Hey, Taylor. Yeah, I just can't do it. Well, 4 Unorenko, I just happen to like it, Reg. You can certainly trade a 6 Unorenko or an 8 on the NQ if you like. I mean, we can format that. It's not a problem. Steve says, seriously, looks great. And I'm telling you, it really works terrific. I mean, the back testing I showed you was absolutely 100% accurate. And when you get the ability to back test it yourself, you're going to see those numbers are right on, spot on. Hey, Junkyard, great name. What specific indicators are required to make the Revo work? If I wanted to add it to another unit, you need all the indicators on the chart. It's reading both quants, it's reading both Laguerres, it's reading the slope of the trend, the slope of the 50, the slope of the 15, the background color, the pivots, the zones. It's looking at everything on the chart. So you really can't add it in isolation, but we include the software with it. So it's not like we're giving you the signal and then you have to buy the software as an add-on. You're getting you're getting everything. Now, and also, like I said, if you don't want to look at it, and I hate to do this, but you can just take this and do that, take this and do that, take that and do that, and do that, and do this, and then do this, and then do this, and do this. And you don't have to look at the software if you don't want to. Now, some of the things you can't remove, but basically, you can't remove the pivots, the 50, but all the things below price, they're there, even though you can't see them. And if you have something else that you want to put there, you don't have to look at them, as long as they're on your chart. The exit is going to work in two ways. And it's up to you how you want the exit to work. One, on an automated trade management strategy, or two, it's going to work this way. Let me give you an example. And I'm not going to look for an entry. I'm just going to make believe it's an entry. Let's say the entry was here. You got the triangle here. Now this is a discretionary way you can exit the trade. It's going to continue up until the trend line, which is this line here, turns color. So you turn red here, that will take you out of the trade. And that's a discretionary component that you can add. It's just a little dot, it's a little check mark. You put in the template, and that's can be your exit. It's the only time in our history, in almost a decade, we've ever used a signal as an exit. We've always used an automated trade management strategy. We're looking for 10 ticks and 22 ticks on the NASDAQ on our first and second target. This gives you the shot for a huge runner because it's going to take you out only on the color change of the 15. And that color change is going to come intra-candle. So you're going to get out pretty quick. There's an audible alert with every, and it's the audible alert is going to hit and give you a ding when the indicator first flashes, and it first flashes intra-candle. When it prints, you got to be there and take the trade. But the audible alert will occur before the candle closes, before the indicator prints, and before the candle finishes. Okay, Jeff, I'm glad you got it. Does the revolutions plot on range shorts? Absolutely. You can use range, you can use minutes. We just have to format the template for you. You tell us what you want to trade. Remember, the force that moves price, and this is why I gave you the first half of the webinar, which was a little bit boring, was what we're looking for. We're looking for the alignment of these indicators, which tell us that we're trading in the direction of institutional money. So they're time independent, they're instrument independent, and they're candle formation independent. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference. The only reason I like Unarenco is I pay no attention to price action, and I pay no attention to price patterns. So I don't need time or range, but if you like them, there's nothing wrong with them. I traded range bars for years, and I traded tick bars for a long time. And on stocks, I like time bars. So whatever you like, it will work. Hey, John, with revolutions, how quickly can you know that the trade will fail so that you can exit without taking a full loss? Well, that the system is automatically going to close on a reversal candle, John. So that's going to be the minimal amount that you can lose on the trade. If it goes 4 or 8 in your direction, it's going to pull your stop. It's better than a trailing stop. Thank you, Jeff. Unarenco, and it's a known fact. Not sure why you haven't found that. Never back test and believe in the results you got. Well, we don't listen, Satine. We've tested it on Unarenco, range, time, not just Unarenco bars. Because you know that we do know that fact. We know that back testing on Unarenco is unreliable. Sergio, who does our back testing, has a master's degree in computer science and computer programming. And I'm telling you, the guy knows everything. I'll look at those bars, okay? I really will. Ninzarenko. I'm going to look, Satine. Hey, Jeff. Yeah, I showed you the back test on the slides. And let me see where they are. Here is 5 months on futures, 80,000. Here is 5 months on Forex, a lot of money. And here is 5 months on the Qs. Boom, like that. Now that's back testing. It's not forward testing. But that's all accurate data. Because Sergio does the back testing, and he knows what he's doing. And we do know, Satine, about back testing on Unorenko. It's just I'm not exactly sure why mathematically, but it doesn't work that well. Sure, Satine. We'll write it down. Hey, Christopher, when using the Revo system entries on stocks, what type of candles or bars? I like to use time bars, Christopher. But that's just my predisposition. It doesn't mean you have to. When I trade stocks, I like to use time, and it's going to work just as well on time. Hey, Junkyard, what chart settings are you using for crude? For crude, we use a 2510 Unorenko. For the NASDAQ, we use a 41020 Unorenko. Oh, I like your name, Jerry. It's a very cute name. In the past, the revolutions indicator on occurred so seldom. Well, Brian, the old system. This is a completely new system. I mean, we've been working on this system for almost 2 years. So there's no comparison to the two. And I went through the signals. You saw that they don't come up that frequently, but you're not going to get exceedingly low risk trades with our #1 goal of avoiding losers that commonly, which is why you're going to trade more than one instrument. I mean, I would recommend you trade 4, 5, or 6 instruments. That's all. Hey, Brian. Yes, it is, Brian. It is included. I have the Algo Trader. Can we automate? Well, I didn't want to mention automation, but automation is down the road, Gene. It's also going to be a little dot, and the signals will be automated. I didn't want to say anything, but we are doing that. I mean, listen, I know the kind of precision it trades with, and given that fact, we are going to at some point in the future code in that automation component. Yes. Hey, Tony, do you have any proof of real money trading results in statements to show? Thanks. I actually do, Tony, but I don't know how to send them to you redacted, because they're in my Thinkorswim account, which is where I have my live account. And remember, the back testing results, nobody traded those. But I do have a really impressive record, really in Thinkorswim going back a decade. I would have to see how to redact it. Now, I get a statement every month, but it's like 25 pages, and it's got my name and my account number everywhere. So I'd have to look at that. But I trade a live money account in Thinkorswim, and that is the truth. I mean, that 300%er. I mean, I made great money on that today. I have the full system, including the algo. Yeah, there would be no problem with that, Ogun. Yes, yes, you would. Hey, Satir, is this the auto trading using this? Yes, this will ultimately become an auto trading system. Yes. I'm a current Right Line subscriber. Yes. Hey, Stephen, lock me in. Okay, Stephen. I'll have Rory give you a call. Thank you for giving me your intro for your the info. Stephen, I did review the ATM. I'll go over it again. You have the option of exiting on an automated trade management. Now, the way I've been doing it up till now, on my first target, I take it at 10 ticks, which is pretty modest. I move my stop to break even, and then I take my second at 22 ticks, which is for a 12, 16, 20, which would be right about here. With this system, we're going to have the ability to take the trade and exit when this green line changes color, and the ability, much easier ability to get a nice runner on the system and not use a fixed ATM. The only thing the fixed ATM will do, and it's actually coded into the indicator, and I'll show it to you. We go to indicators and we go to the revolutions. It's going to ask you for your first target. Let me find it. It's here somewhere. See your first target value here? This is on the NQ. So it knows that your first target is 10. And it knows that once you hit 10, you have the ability to bring your stop to break even. And then if you want to let the trade roll and continue, you can take it out on the change in color of the 15. How do you know when to get out? That's how we get out, Bob. You never know when exactly to get out. I mean, you know, milking the trade for as much money as you can is about as challenging a thing as you get, because you never know how far the trade's going to move. If you have no upside resistance, and you can see how this trade was approached resistance here, that's where you're going to start to think, you know, that this trade is about done. And remember, resistance is not just a line. You know, if I'm in the room, it's an area like this. So that's where you're going to start thinking to yourself, you know, this trade is coming to a close. Okay. Sure, I got you, Ken. Thanks for giving me your info. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much, Fong. 4-7, Heinz, if you want to. So trade around the clock. Aid, okay. Hey, KB, it is recorded. Hey, John, what is the cost for current for the upgrade? You know what, John? You have to call Rory. He'll tell you that, because I don't even know, and I'm telling you the truth. He has a log of everything, and he'll let you know. I'm sure you'll be super happy with it. Okay, Eric, we got your name and number. Thank you so much. Hey, Gerd. So the revolution signals are all arrows which appear if all indicators align. And is this also tradable with a $2,000 account? It absolutely is, Gerd. I mean, you can trade it with one contract or two contracts. And remember, you can trade it on the micros. If you trade the micro NASDAQ or the micro E-mini, you know, you can trade 3 contracts. Very, very little money is required, and $2 grand is plenty on the micros. Hey, Caesar, I got the original market scanner bought last year. How do I get an update? Just call Rory, Caesar, and he'll take care of it. What's the name of the template that will run the revolutions indicator? I swear, John, we haven't given it a name yet. We're just going to call it the revolutions template. But it's, you know, it's right here. This is it. And just let me add one other thing. You know, markets change complexion. And in a high volume, high volatility market, you have one set of settings. In a low volatility, low volume market, you're going to have a different set of settings. Any system like this, which gives you a signal to get in on a trade, has to take into account the kind of market it's trading. So when we see that the template requires an upgrade, we're going to send it out, and you're going to get a new template with all new recommended settings that are different. So we can change the personality of the entry based on the kind of market we're dealing with. Right now, we have a lot of volatility. And I think it's going to go right through the election and then right through the first year. But who knows what's going to happen in 21? I mean, maybe the market will be a dud and just roll around forever, in which case we're going to have to modify everything. And it's very easy to do with this template. This is why we didn't hard code this in. And we easily could have done that and give you no discretion on the entry. And I purposely told Sergio to make this very modifiable so that we can change its complexion when the markets change. And that's really why automated signals like this fail. They work in one market, then the market changes and they fail. Hey, KB. Yay. Yay. Great to have you, KB. Thank you so much. I watched the webinar the other day and the call. No, Austin. That wasn't my webinar. Oh, well, that was a completely different system, Austin. Completely different than this. We have two systems, and you were looking at a completely different system, Austin. There was no revolutions indicator. There was no template. There wasn't this level of complexity. It's a great system, but this is the revolutions system, and it's just a different system. Hey, Vedant, what is the difference between this system and the multi-time frame order flow, the gear system? Nothing, except for the revolutions, Yadan. They are the same. We've been moving so fast. I mean, I have to update the website that, you know, we really only have two systems. With this system, and then we have the money flow tracker. That's it. Hey, Patrick, how is this revolutions indicator different than your automated system? Well, the automated system entry we had 2 years ago, this is just, I mean, we just scrapped it. Remember, that indicator came from a central computer in Chicago and fired a signal onto your computer. And just the lag time between the central computer in Chicago and getting into your computer was enough to hurt it. One big change that we made is you now have the software on your computer. So you're not getting a signal from some external source. It's generated in your computer. There's no lag time. Just that alone improved its performance markedly. Plus, the system is really different. I mean, seriously, I'd say 65 or 70% of the system is different, and not housed in a central computer in Chicago. We give you the software. Hey, Jim. Jim says he noticed that some of the here, and here's what happens. And when you close NinjaTrader on multi-time frame charts, it sometimes shifts some of the colors, and we can't help that. Like if I closed the system and opened it, you wouldn't see these lines exactly the same color as they are now. Now that's different than repainting, because repainting is you're opening up a live market, it takes a failure and the system moves it over. But if you close NinjaTrader and then you reopen NinjaTrader, some of the revolutions may disappear simply because of the way that NinjaTrader handles multi-time frame analysis. And there's nothing we can do about it. In fact, our fight over that got us kicked out of the ecosystem with NinjaTrader because we blamed it on them and they blamed it on us, and we know it's their fault. So you won't see any come in, but you may see a couple disappear. And the more likely they're going to be winners. They're not going to be losers. But occasionally you will see a couple disappears, Jim. And that's the reason. But never on a live chart, and only if you close Ninja and then reopen. Hey, Reg. So I have the 3 time frames and the full trade room software. I have to get the full program. Again, no, all you have to do is call Rory and he'll help you out, Reg. Hey, Casey. Just speak to Rory, Casey. Give him a call. He'll take care of it. Hey, Patrick. Can you run both the money flow tracker? Yes, you can. Absolutely. They will not interfere with each other, Patrick. They are mutually compatible and they will run together without any problem at all. No, Austin, there's not. But if you speak to Rory, you may get one. Hey, Barry, I bought your automated system last week. Okay, is this the same system? Do I have the revolutions? Barry, yes. Just call Rory and he'll take care of it. How many signals do you get most days if you're trading those 4 instruments? Brian, you're probably going to get 2, 4, at least 10 signals, maybe 12, maybe even 14. You can figure you're going to get 2 to 3 signals per market. So if you're trading 4 markets, you're going to get about 12 signals. Now, some days you may get 8, and some days you may get 20. But in general, you're going to get plenty of signals to make a lot of money, really. I mean, like I said, I really mean this. You're never going to want for signals if you trade all 4 instruments. You won't. Hey, Satine. No, that question was about 60 minutes ago, and you showed your system, and after 50 minutes, okay, no problem. I figured that's Satine. Hey, Dwayne, is a money flow tracker? No, just call Rory, Dwayne. Hey, Christopher, I own the full system and made, don't worry, Christopher, just call Rory. Update, yes, it's included, Heinz. That scanner. First 10, get it. How to evaluate targets once you take the signal? Well, remember, Jeff, you're either going to have an embedded automated trade management strategy, or you're going to, you have to pick a first target. Well, you really don't. I mean, you can put a first target in of essentially 75 ticks, and then the system will take you out when this trend line changes color, or you hit 75 ticks. Now, I don't think you're going to hit that 75 very often. So we'll help you with the automated trade management strategy. I mean, and we're going to give you a recommended ATM. So don't worry about that. Like I said, my recommended on the NASDAQ is 10 and 22. My recommended on the E-mini is 6 and 12. My recommended on crude and gold are 5 and 15. I'm 7 and 15. Now you can go for more, and you can engage the change on the color of the trend right here. So there are really a couple of ways you can take this trade out. No, I know what you mean, Heinz. Just call Rory. Sax man, I haven't seen you in a while. Your equity chart showed great profits. How many contracts were used? The same as we trade in the room. 2 on crude, 2 on gold, 3 on the NASDAQ, and 3 on the E-mini. Hey, Dirk. ATM strategies, Dirk, I think I just told you. NASDAQ, 10 and 22, first and second target. E-mini, 6 and 12, first and second target. Those are ticks. Crude, 7 and 15. Gold, 7 and 15. And remember, if you have a trade and you get in really tight to the 50 and it goes 22 ticks, and so you're out of the trade and you get an immediate pullback, you can always take it again. And it's possible to get another 22. Now, the revolutions will only signal you once. It'll never signal you twice in the same trend. It's formatted to work that way. You see, you may get 3 signals in a row, but once the move starts, and if you get a wick back, it will not put you back in the trade. Because that's a higher risk trade when the trade is evolved and has moved, 5 or 6 or 7 candles up. So it won't put you back in. Is this an updated version of the auto trading offered? It is. It's not really an updated, it's just a completely new system, Jonathan. It really is. Hey, John, what modifications do you have to make to the revolution signal to work on the E-mini? Different Unorenko settings. We'll do the changes for you, John. You just tell us what you want to trade and we'll make you the template. You don't have to worry about it. If you don't want to trade a 248, you just let us know what you want to trade and we'll make the template for you. So don't worry, and we'll make we'll give everybody a template depending upon what they want to trade. Hey, Reg, triangles. Mark, I was hoping for a fire truck and a siren. Anyway, do I need the whole program if all I'm missing, I think, is the triangle? I don't know, Reg. Just call Rory and he'll tell you exactly what you need. He's got everything written down. But that was really funny. Hey, Craig, are people using on micros to build up? Absolutely. We have a lot of people in the room trading the micros, Craig. And I think they're great to trade if you're first learning and you first come off of paper trading. They're a great way to trade. I mean, you're not going to make a lot, you're not going to lose a lot, but you're going to confirm for yourself in a live market trading real money that you can make it. And I think it's a great initial instrument to trade. I really do. Hey, Heinz, from the continuation signal. No, the continuation signal is completely different, and we're removing it from the chart, Heinz. It's a good signal, but it doesn't have the power, this power. It is not automated currently, Stephen. That's in the not so distant future, because the system's already built. The automated component of it is really not that tough to do. I just want you to know that. Is that a mini chart? Well, what I have, I mean, this is a regular chart, but the mini charts are the same. I mean, it's just, it's just less, you just make or lose less money per tick. They're identical charts, Robert. Please call me. Okay, we'll call you tomorrow, Chuck. Thank you for your name and number. Okay, great, Ryan. Thank you, guys. I went over that exit signal a few times, Craig. I think you got it. Hey, PK, thanks for the informative webinar. For those of us that got the money flow system recently, will an upgrade be sent? Yep. How many contracts in your back testing? Like I said, Greg, on crude 2, gold 2, NASDAQ 3, E-mini 3. Hey, John, does this work in NT market replay or playback? It does. It'll work on market replay because we've watched it. Replying to the 4-unit rank. Okay, thanks. 4 seems so fast, and I do have a few years on you. I don't know if you do, Reg, but listen, you can always go to a slower Unorenco. You don't have to trade a 4. And personally, I think you should just go to the E-mini. I mean, you may get fewer entries, but it's a slower instrument. Today we made it. We had our first trade was a killer trade on it. You'll get great trades on the E-mini. Just dump the NASDAQ. I mean, don't let it stress you out, Reg. You don't have to trade it. Really. Hey, Jeff, I definitely would like a call back on the promo. And please lock me in. You listen, if you give us your name and number, you're locked in. Hey, KB, it can and will be. Hey, Brian. We do, Brian. And I'll have to get Rory to email it to you. It's just our standard. It's just our standards. I mean, what we do in the room every day, Brian. I mean, on the NQ, I trade 3 contracts: 2 off a target 1, 1 at target 2. E-mini, 2 off a target 1, 1 off a target 2. Crude, 1 at target 1, 1 at target 2. Gold, 1 at target 1, 1 at target 2. I don't want to get caught up on the ATMs because that's all stuff will work out for you and we'll configure for you. Don't worry about it. Hey, great to have you aboard, KB. Mark, if I want to use the Revo to trade Globex around Asia Open, do I need to change the global parameter pit session? You do, Frank, and we'll help you do that. That's not a problem. Sergio will help you with that. Can you set it to auto trade? Right now, it does not have an auto trader component. I want you to be clear. That is coming in the not too distant future. Because the whole, I mean, like, what you see is 99.99% of the auto trader system. And remember, you've got it on your computer. So it's not like the system we had in the past where it was housed in a server in Chicago. This is housed on your computer. So getting this to auto trade is actually quite easy. And I'm telling you, it's coming. Do you plan to include 2 Revo signals into the algo? I don't know what you mean by to include. Oh, yes, Ed. I mean, the Revo signal, if you trade it on an algorithmic auto system, will actually trade and trigger for you. I mean, they'll take the trade. Hey, Ed. Yes. What is the difference between this system and the multi-time frame order flow gear? Nothing, Don. 0. When will the strategy portion be complete? Early next week. Well, midweek, Casey. That's what Sergio's working on now. It's going to be exactly the same, but instead of being an indicator, it's going to go here on NinjaTrader. It's going to go into your strategies section. That's all. And once it becomes a strategy, that's when it becomes basically cake to automate. And that right now, that's his own. I told him to forget all his other to-do list stuff and just concentrate on that. Hey, Joseph, a Revo running at 4 and have that show up as a global symbol on my. I don't know about that, Joseph. Running on a 4T Unorenco and have that show up as a glow. I don't know if you can, Joseph. I don't want to say no, but I don't want to say yes either because I'm not sure. That's really more of a question for Sergio when he went home. If you give us a call tomorrow, we can give you more information on that. I'm not positive about that, Joseph. I don't want to give you misinformation. System and the multi-time frame, none. Hey, David, do you enter the rev trades on the auto alert or the printed signal? Would you still enter? No, first of all, David, I mean, we're sort of getting into the minutia. It will never signal you to trade into a pivot. It sees the pivots. So you'll never get a signal. Remember, here's the reason, and this is really about the last thing I'm going to do. And then I'm going to kind of, because it's getting really long. And I want to, here is why the system must know where your first target is. The reason is that it will give you 11 ticks to a pivot or a zone. It sees that you need 10 ticks to get to your first target. So it will never take a trade if you're 10 ticks or less away from a pivot. That's why it's got to know your first target. So that's the whole purpose of it. Now, even if it's an entry you don't take, you got to create separation between you and that pivot. Because you and I, when we trade in the room, we see so many trades bounce off these pivots and zones. It's pathetic. It's silly. If we traded into them, we would get killed. So it avoids them. Hey, Jim. Yes, it was the flash before the print. Exactly, Jim. You got it. I already went over that, Greg. The profit factor we try to make about 0.8 to 1. It's not 1 to 1. On a leveraged instrument, Dirk, you just can't reasonably get 1 to 1. I mean, remember, if you take 13 ticks of profit, if you take 13 ticks of profit of risk on crude and gold, which is what we do, we take 13 ticks. Let me just make sure I'm right. Let me just open that up. Yeah, we take 13 ticks. So in other words, you would have to have one contract. If you traded 2 contracts, you'd have to get 26 ticks on the trade in order for the risk to equal the reward. We're looking for 22, 15, and 7. So the risk is a little bit greater than the reward. But here's the thing, Dirk. We take the trade out on a reversal candle, which really minimizes your losses. And let me give you an example. And that's what automatically happens, that this is the way the system will work. And let me give you an example, and I probably won't be able to find one. But let's say you enter a trade and it goes 1 candle or 2 candles, and you're on a 2 Unorenco, and then it heads right back up against you. That reversal candle is going to cut your stop by 4 ticks. So if you started with a 13 tick stop, your stop is now only 9 ticks. So unless the trade never goes 1 tick in your favor, do you take the full loss on the trade? If you can get it to go 2, 3, 4, 5, it goes 6, then that's when you have a heart attack, when you miss your first target by 1 tick. I mean, today I had trades hit my first target and wouldn't take it out. And finally it took it out. But then when you get the reversal, you're going to lose a lot less than the full potential loss. So it may be closer, and it may be greater than 1 to 1 because of that reversal out. What caused the drawdown on the 4? Oh, I don't know, Scott. I mean, remember, that's just back testing, and I would have to go and take a look. I don't know that info. Right now, Greg, we can format it on any future or any Forex you want. Stocks were a little more limited, but you know, we can do a few for you. On Forex and futures, we can do any you want. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. I downloaded the new system from but Revo is not there. Okay, well, don't worry, Ogun. I'll talk to Rory. Don't worry about it. Hey, Austin, got your number. Thank you for giving it to me. Appreciate it. Hey, John, could you show how do you set it up? I see, John, this is too much right now. I mean, I'm running I mean, this is from 4 to 5 and I'm at 6:16. It's too much. I know you guys want the info. If you come aboard in the master class, I'm going to show you everything. I mean, that master class can run 3 hours. I don't care. I'll leave a whole afternoon for it. But it's just getting really late. That's all. I received the new Revo indicator. All right, but I don't know if I have the market scanner. If so, Joseph, just call Rory. He'll give you a great deal. Don't worry about it. Hey, Dirk, what does the indicator show that you got your 10-tick break even on the chart? Where does the indicator show? It's really simple. Let's take a look. I'll show you right now. Let's take a look at the E-mini. And this, I think, will answer that question. Let me go right here. This is today. Okay, see the signal right here? What I'm going to do is just take this and go to text and markers. I took the trade. There was my entry on the triangle. There was my first target. And there was my second target. One nifty trade and very lucrative. So all you have to do is show your text and markers. And you can see, I saw the rev, I took the candle, and I went, and down we go. Very, very, very nice signal. So you can see, it made me nice money on my first trade this morning. And I always like to start off trading with a winner. Okay, I'm going to kind of call it because it's being recorded. I'll watch the recording. Okay, Gerd, listen. This is live, Chris. I'm sitting here with I am sitting here with in my socks, and it's 5. You asked that question at 5:52. This is about as live as it gets. Hey, Mark. Hey, Frank. Is there a setting that you have that switches the pivots on the Renko that signals a turn? In other words, I see right now on the crude, the high pink Renko bar anticipating a downturn. Charts. There is, Frank, and we can format that for you. I know what you're talking about, and we can do it. Yes, it is, Barry. Hey, Heinz. Is it better to use a VPS with the Revo unless you use it's automated, and it will be automated very shortly. because then you don't want to lose your connection. Remember, if you have an automated trade, it happens to take one you don't see, and you lose your connection, you're going to lose your stops. So I would definitely use it. It's just my personal. We use Speedy servers in Chicago. They're cheap and they're terrific and they're very reliable, and they're housed in like a bunker. If they dropped an atom bomb on top of it, the place wouldn't even shake. Hey, Austin, did you other webinars say we could trade this with Think or Swim? Yes, you can trade this with Think or Swim, Austin. You can. We can bring your API over, and that's true. Does this use order flow and price action? We use order flow, but we do not use price action, Chris. That's the whole point of it. I mean, price action and price patterns are not effective. Hey, Steve, is there a shift in the quants? Can we believe signals that are on the charts historically, not live? There's a slight shift in the quants, Steve. I want to be honest with you. They do shift a little bit. And here's the thing that really helps you. They shift to the right about 2 or 3 candles. Never to the left, always to the right. So if you close your Ninja and you open it up for the weekend, say you want to go through it, you can pretty much have a really good idea of where everything was when you took the trades, or when you're doing an assessment. Just know that, including background bias, remember that's another multi-time frame assessment. It's going to get pushed a little bit to the right, but we cannot overcome Ninja Traders coding. And they blame it on us, but it is not our fault. And Sergio has done extensive research on it, and we cannot help that from happening. It's right here. This is Rory's number, 786-732-4656. It's right there, Greg. If you call him now, he's on the phone. But you can leave a message and he'll get it, or he'll call you. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. I appreciate that. Hey, Ed, what setting is used to use the trend line color change exit? Ed, there is no setting. That is a fixed indicator with no inputs. Okay, really. Stop. Okay, listen. Okay. Hey, Donna, do Unorenco lifetime members get the Rev system? If you're a Unorenco lifetime member, you do. Hey, Jim, how do you turn the sound alert? Sergio will show it to you. It's very, very easy. It's in the template. I didn't show it to you, and I'm just not going to run back there just because it's running so late. And also, I'm a single dad, and I got to give my son dinner, or he's going to starve to death. If I have an account with Thinkorswim, does NinjaTrader connect? Yes, it does, Austin. We connect it for you. And in fact, if you look at my control panel here, and you go to connections, one of my connections is TD Ameritrade. And if I click it,
Connection lost.
well, I don't know why that happened, but there it is, it's back. I just connected my data feed to TD Ameritrade. So it's really easy to do. And again, Sergio will do that for you. So you don't have to worry about that. There'll be a recording, yes. No, there is going to be an alert. There is going to be an alert. Is the template folder, other template?
Connection lost.
It's moving in and out of my Thinkorswim. I don't know why. It's probably my internet.
Connection lost.
I have a really bad internet here because everybody's sitting home, and it's got like 10 million more users than there should be. Why two different templates? Remember, no, the E-mini and the mini E-mini, Joshua, would have the same template. But you can understand why the E-mini and the NASDAQ would have different ones. The micros are going to have the same template as the regulars. Hey, Kim, got your number and name. Thank you much. Well, Rory will call you in the morning. Asia, I also must change all the volume thresholds. Yeah, and we'll help you. We'll help you make that adjustment, Frank. Hey, Shalom, how are you? Need a correlation to give accurate statistics and strat. I think there is a look ahead bias. No, there is, Shalom. And we know that Unirenko bars are not that accurate. We already understand that. Your patience and gracefulness in dealing with people is something I hope to master. It might be too late for me. Thank you, Leon. I appreciate it. Hey, Dirk. So does the indicator show where the stops should be on the chart? Remember, Dirk, we're going to program all of that for you. Don't worry about that. It's going to show your stops and targets. I promise you it will, because we trade with Chart Trader. And when the signal is activated, your stop and targets are right on the chart for you to see. Everything is there. So you enter the rev trade on the auto alert. Well, the auto alert will come when the signal is flickering. You're going to have to wait. And what you do is, let's say it's a long trade with a flickering long triangle. You're going to put your stop one tick above the anticipated close. Now, if you're trading range or Unirenko, you already know what it is. If you're trading time or tick, you don't know exactly what it is, but you're going to wait for the candle to close and try to get in one tick above, David. And I really, really got to run. I really do. The masterclass, Barry, will be very early next week. The offer will be done. We'll have everyone aboard, and you'll all come in, and I'll reserve an entire afternoon, and that's when I'll answer every question until we're done. Okay? I got your name and number, Brian. Yes, the other one's being replaced, Frank. Totally replaced. Then just said they can only trade Thinkorswim stocks and not futures. Do you trade futures with Thinkorswim? No, I don't. The futures I trade with CQG. Right here. Right here. So you can trade stocks and options with Thinkorswim. If you want to trade futures, what I would recommend, and honestly, you don't want to trade futures with Thinkorswim because their round turns are outrageously expensive, Tony, and they don't even try to be competitive. What I would recommend you do is open up a small account with NinjaTrader. I mean, if you seriously want to be a futures trader, I mean, you can get 20% less per round trip from our guy at NinjaTrader. I mean, we don't have any financial relationship with him. We just give him all our clients, and in return, he gives you great round trips. So I would recommend that you do that. Opening up a personal account is really, really simple, and you'll get super cheap round trips. And so you don't even want to use Thinkorswim because their round trips are atrociously expensive. Great for stocks and options, terrible for futures. Hey, Eric, can I run this on 3 laptops at the same time? You can, Eric. We will give you the ability. Everyone have a great weekend. A great night. I'm about talked out. I trade stocks and options through TD Ameritrade, Joseph, and I trade my futures through NinjaTrader. For stocks with NinjaTrader, Pines, hands down, I love Thinkorswim. I love it. I've been with them since 1996. They're really good to me. And let me tell you, I have an account with First Trade. too. Every time I call them, I have to wait an hour. I mean, 5 minutes, and you got a guy on Thinkorswim. And you should learn how to use the Thinkorswim platform. It's fabulous. And if you trade options, it's really a great tool. Okay. All right, everyone. Have a great evening. And hope to see you in the trading room. Either way, I just wish you the best of health and happiness. And I hope we're just a small guy. We're trying to smack the other small guy. And I'm telling you, we should beat these other small guys up every freaking day. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Bye-bye, everybody.